Well, Blake Lively's new ally has just been exposed, and we're going to get into her juicy, yummy past. We have the Mormon wives stirring up some drama again with the Vanderpump Villa peeps because the Mormon wives' the Mormon wives' lies are being exposed. And then we have a first look at Todd and Julie Chrisley. They're out of prison, they're out and about, and we got their first look. So let's get ready. Let's get it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. What's up, everybody in the club? Hello. How's everybody doing? Let's get it. I have lots of yummy announcements to make today. So I guess we'll get into them in just a sec. But first off, happy Friday. I feel like I'm a little puffy and swollen today. I apologize. I slept in, I was like, I'm gonna skip the gym today because I injured my knee and I like tore something in the back of my knee, and it's been like a journey the past couple of weeks to like recover and like get back to it. And so I've slowly started to like start running again, and it's been a not so yummy process. So I decided I was gonna take today off to like, since I ran yesterday, to like let my body just kind of like relax, and then I slept in. But when you like sleep in and you end up oversleeping. It's funny because I say slept in, and sleeping in for me is 6:30. That's me sleeping in is 6:30. So yeah, it's what a time. What a time, what a time, what a time. So I just feel like my face is kind of puffy. I didn't work out, I didn't sweat anything out. Whatever. It is what it is. Word of the year is yummy. Yes, everyone's saying yummy. Happy Yummy Friday. Yay, Zack time. Let's hope I don't get too. Actually, I think I'm going to get a little Zactivated today. I think that's going to happen because we did a little digging. And by we, I need to give a lot of credit to uh, Cassidy O'Connell. Shout out to Cassidy. She did some sleuthing, and I did a little more sleuthing this morning into Elyse Dorsey, who's one of the ladies that came out and was supporting Blake Lively with her, what was it, her Expecto Patronum, her Opius Prime, I don't know, whatever she filed. Remember all the advocacy organizations came out and people were like, oh, they're related to Blake Lively, which we found out they're actually not owned or related to Blake Lively. To my knowledge, I don't believe Blake Lively has a charity. If she does have a charity, it's on the low. But we're going to get into Elyse today because she was coming out. She's like, I'm a survivor too. I also, was victimized and harassed and yada, yada, yada. Her Atticus Finch. Yeah, amicus brief. Yes. Everybody has a funny name for it. I know Donna calls it Atticus Prime. Jem calls it Atticus Finch. Yes, we know it's called an amicus brief. I call it her Expecto Patronum because she's always trying to do magic tricks in court and they just don't seem to be working. I saw that Brian Friedman did issue a yummy response back to Blake Lively, which I thought was it was good, it was clear, it was concise, but it was also kind of shady and a little funny. Here, I'll pull up an excerpt from it because I thought it was definitely just a funny little clapback. So in his response, he wrote, the organizations, referring to the organizations that filed their Atticus Primes, the organizations do not assert that Lively's counsel is incompetent, nor do they justify any other case that may be affected by this court's decision on Lively's motion to dismiss. Right. So Lively filed a motion to dismiss. So these organizations, including this woman, Elyse, they've come out and they say that, they want to show their support for Blake Lively. And so Brian Friedman's clapping back and he's like, well, the only time you typically file a brief like this is when the counsel is incompetent or you feel like, the party is being wronged in some way. And so he's saying that there's no case in which the court's decision on Lively's motion to dismiss should be influenced by these organizations. He continues by writing, rather, the organizations rely on their unique perspective, and he puts that in air quotes, unique perspective as drafters and champions of California Assembly Bill 933. which is another way of saying that the organization's attempt to provide disguised, premature, and inappropriate expert testimony at the pleading stage. As as observed by the Seventh Circuit, the vast majority of amicus briefs are filed by allies of litigants and duplicate the arguments made in the litigants' briefs, in the effects merely extending the length of the litigant's brief. Such amicus briefs should not be allowed. They are abuse, right? And then he continues by saying that there was no purpose for them to issue this brief. They are not a friend of the courts. They are a friend of Blake Lively's, and they're just improper and not really necessary. So hopefully the judge will make a ruling on that and strike those. I don't believe Friedman issued a motion to strike. He issued something. He issued a motion to something, but it wasn't a motion to strike. So we'll see how the judge responds to this. But basically, these amicus briefs from these organizations and this woman, Elyse, are bogus. So there's that. And we'll get into Elyse Dorsey in just a sec, because at first I thought, oh, she must clearly be just like a victim and she's speaking out and good for her. And surprisingly, she's not just a victim that's speaking out in support of Blake Lively. Her yummy past has now been exposed, and I have a lot of questions about it. But first, let's give a shout out to this week's sponsor. We love it. We love it. Guys, are you sick of drinking your calories or of waking up hungover? Having some drinks can be fun, but I'm glad that I found an alternative that lets me feel great in the moment and the next morning, and that's my out of office gummies from Soul. Okay. Soul is a wellness brand that believes that feeling good should be fun and easy, right? Especially with summer coming around. Soul specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance creativity. The out-of-office gummies come in 4 different strains, so you can find the perfect dose that fits your vibe. With wellness at the forefront, you can feel good about what you're putting in your body, because all of Soul's products are made from organically farmed USA grown hemp and are vegan, gluten-free, and low in sugar. Plus, Soul has so many other amazing wellness products with or without THC, whichever floats your boat. They have a variety of gummies and capsules that can help improve sleep, stress, pain, focus, bloating, and more. Bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Soul today. Right now, Soul's offering you guys, my audience, a 30% off your entire order. That's 30% off. That's a good deal. Go to Get Soul, that's GETSOUL, getsoul.com, and use the promo code No Filter. That's Get Soul, GETSOUL, getsoul.com, promo code No Filter for 30% off. Go right now. Let's get it. And on that note, as you know, as we talk about all the time here, I am getting ready to go on my Zactivated tour. And the Zactivated tour is kicking off in Dallas. And I've already told you that Colonel Kurtz is coming. I'm doing Dallas, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Toronto, Brooklyn, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles. You can get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. As long as you purchase your tickets by, I'm going to say Sunday. I know I keep extending it. This is the last time I'm going to extend the giveaway, but I am giving away a coffee date, one-on-one coffee date with me in any of these cities, in any of these 8 cities. So all you have to do is purchase your tickets and then go on over, DM me a copy, DM me a confirmation. If you've already purchased your tickets previously, you can still enter. Just send me a copy of your ticket confirmation to verify that you've purchased your tickets. And I will announce, or I will pick 3 winners next week. So 3 lucky people will get to go on a coffee date with me. I had one woman who's like, I bought tickets, but me and my friend bought tickets. Should we both submit? And I was like, yeah, both submit. If you bought your tickets separately, then you send me a copy of your ticket, have her send me a copy of her ticket, and one of you might win. Gotten lots of good submissions. So be sure to get your tickets. Get it, 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 get it. Okay. And then also, since we are going to Dallas, I wanted to share that Hannah, and as you remember on the podcast, Hannah and Hagen from Vanderpump Villa, remember they were spilling all the tea, all the Vanderpump tea and all the Mormon wives tea. They're going to be with me on stage in Dallas as well. So you can come see and hang out with Hannah, hang out with Hagen, the demon twink that the internet has fallen in love with. They're going to have lots of Mormon wives and Vanderpump Villa tea to spill. It's going to be fun. It's going to be yummy. It's going to be great. Cheryl says, are you pausing the podcast during your tour? I'm going to try to keep up with the podcast as much as I possibly can. Tiffany says, I just bought my VIP ticket yesterday for Phoenix. Yay! Andy from Popcorn Planet is going to be with me on stage in Phoenix, so that's going to be yummy. But so yeah, if you want to come meet Hagen, come hang out with Hannah. Colonel Kurtz is also going to be in the Dallas show as well, along with some other very special guests. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time, good time, good time. So be sure to get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. Zach, when will you be in Phoenix? Here are the dates. I will be in Dallas on July 11th. So that's with Hannah, Hagen, Colonel Kurtz, and some other special guests to be announced shortly. I will be in Dallas on July 11th. I will be in Philly on July 23rd. Dallas, July 11th. Phoenix, July 13th. So Arizona peeps, I saw a few of you in the live chat today. Arizona, I'm coming to Phoenix on July 13th. I'm coming to Philly, July 23rd. Toronto, July 24th. Brooklyn, July 26th. Chicago, July 27th. Seattle, August 8th. And then we're going to wrap things up in Los Angeles on August 10th. August 10th is going to have Chloe Veach in Los Angeles. Jenny McCarthy is going to be with me on stage on July 27th in Chicago. Chef Stu and Donna Bowling are going to be with me both in Brooklyn and Chicago. Paula M here on YouTube is going to be with me in Toronto. The Brav Bros are going to be with me in Philly alongside Giorgio Says. So lots of fun guests, lots of fun games, lots of yummy tea and discovery that we'll break down. So get to it. All right. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, Enrique says Stu is his internet boyfriend. He's my internet boyfriend. I had him first. Okay. Elyse Dorsey. What a fun time. So she's been going around and she's been advocating because she's, a defender of all women. And she's like, I am here for, to champion all the women, right? And she's been Blake Lively's biggest number one supporter. And everyone's like, cute, good for her. We love that Blake Lively supports women and that this is a woman that is behind Blake Lively because she believes in women. So this is where we're going to get into the drama with Elyse Dorsey. And like I said, shout out to Cassidy O'Connell because she really did a full deep dive. She had Lauren from Court of Random Opinion on. So I was watching her video and then I was looking up a bunch of news reports from this lawsuit. So Elyse Dorsey, I guess she went to she was a research assistant and she also went to GMU with a man named Joshua Wright. She ultimately ends up suing Joshua Wright because she claims that she was harassed by him. And so when you first hear her story, you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. She's coming out in support of Blake Lively, and understandably, because, I mean, come on, look at everybody that's come out and supported Blake. Amber Heard, Harvey Weinstein. Like, of course, Blake Lively has a solid case. We need another Avenger to add to the lineup, right? This is an all-star lineup. This is Blake Lively's all-stars. Okay. Which, we can also throw Brandon Sklenar in there and Michelle Maroney, Michaela Maroney, Michelle Maroney, however you pronounce it. He started Another Simple Favor with her. But so I think of all of them at first glance, Elyse Dorsey seemed to be one of the most credible because she claimed that she'd been harassed in the past. And to be fair, so did Amber Heard. And so, she claimed it was DV and SV. But so Elyse is claiming SH from this man named Joshua Wright, who was a professor. Okay. Apparently they had a sexual affair, which she says that she was against, but he was her boss. He had power over her. She felt like she needed to oblige. So she ended up sleeping with him and having this relationship with him, right? And she says that they slept together on multiple occasions, all of which she claimed she did this just to kind of get him off her back because, she knew that his endorsement would be important. He was, at a higher level position. He was a professor at this university. And so she was basically saying she felt pressured. She didn't have a choice. So she would do it to just kind of, appease him. And so They had this whole relationship. Eventually, it fizzled out around 2013. They later reconnect in 2015. He again ended up being in a position of seniority. He was her manager. And yet again, they became sexually involved. Okay. They ended up working together until I believe about 2019. And this is when they both ended up going off to go do other jobs, not the jobs that she was giving him under the table, but other professional jobs. And so that was 2019. Then circle back 2021. He reaches back out to her. He says, "Hey, I'm opening up my own law firm." Apparently, he made her a very impressive offer. She felt like she couldn't refuse this offer. So she took it. Okay. I guess she then finds out that he was sleeping with somebody else. She didn't like that. So she confronted him and she claims that she ended things very abruptly. I guess this other woman was also a former GMU student of his, similar to Elyse Dorsey. So maybe she was jealous, but also maybe she was getting upset with the fact that he was sleeping with his college students. That's breaking the rules, technically. He shouldn't be doing that, right? Now, to be fair, these are college students, so they are grown adults. They are of age. They can give consent. They are not underage. However, it is still highly inappropriate. Apparently, the school has a policy against this where they advise against these types of sexual or romantic relationships. However, if one does occur, it must immediately be disclosed to the university. Let us know so we can navigate that and make sure that there's no unfair power dynamic, right? Well, after their argument, Dorsey decided that she was going to go to the school and complain. She filed a formal complaint with GMU alleging a hostile environment, SH, and claiming that this guy, Wright, violated their policies on relationships between professors and students. Okay. That's the story that we know that's out there. Next thing you know it, he comes out swinging and sues her for over $100 million. I believe it was 108 was the exact number that he was suing her for. And this was for it was a defamation lawsuit. He was accusing her of trying to extort him. And he also accuses her of trying to tarnish his reputation. He's proving damages. He claims that they had a consensual relationship. And he also reveals that at the time that they started sleeping together, they were both married. So they were with other people, not just dating, not engaged, married, and they were both aware of the fact that they were both married and doing naughty married things with your non-spouse. And so in his lawsuit, he actually colors in a lot more of the missing pieces during their 11-year affair. Affair, relationship, friend with benefits, whatever it was. He claims at some points it was just friendly and platonic, and he was very supportive of her. At other points, it was hot and spicy, and they were doing all the things that married people are not supposed to be doing with other married people that are not their spouses. And not only does he make all of these claims, right? Because as we learned with Blake Lively's lawsuit, amongst others, he brings receipts. Let's see if we can pull up a photo of him. Because yeah, he's not ugly. I don't know. Like he's kind of cute. Well, actually, I guess the more photos you see of him, he looks a little gross and slobbery. Um, yeah, I guess the older photos of him are not quite the cutest. He seems like a sleazeball, right? He has a wife. He's cheating on his wife. He's sleeping with one of the students. He's not disclosing it to the school. Doesn't seem like a great dude, right? This is him, Joshua. Hi, Josh. Welcome. Um, this looks like a more recent picture. He looks a little sleazeball-y, right? This is her, Elyse. This is Joshua. Again, kind of looks a little slimy. Don't know how much I trust him. Here's his professional headshot. Yeah, like he seems to have lost his neck along with his morals, like the chin, when the chin just kind of morphs into one. Anyway, personally, I think they're both bad people, but also we kind of felt this way with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, right? Because we're like, oh, they're both. Some people are on the fence of like, well, I think they both look terrible, right? Or like character wise. And then now, the more that we learn about Justin Baldoni, the more it appears that maybe he wasn't as bad as we wanted to believe that he was initially, right? And maybe Blake Lively's more of the villain. So let's get back to Elyse. Okay. Well, actually, on the note of Mr. Wright, he files his lawsuit. suing her for defamation. Damages are over 100 million. Okay. Then he brings receipts and he reveals his breakup text message to Elyse. And then he also reveals her flood of text messages back to him, basically trying to explain to him why she, who was mistress number one, because remember he had a wife, I believe at some point both of their marriages end. It's uncertain when they got divorced, I mean, if they had what was it, an 11-year relationship, they've known each other for 11 years. At some point in that 11-year period, both of them ended up divorcing their spouses. Okay. But so when he breaks up with her later, and this is in 2021, basically she tries to convince him why she, mistress number one, is better than mistress number two, right? Because he's chosen mistress number two over her. And she's just like, no, that's not fair. You shouldn't pick mistress number two over me. What in the sister wives? No, thank you. I'm mistress number one. And he was just like, I don't know how I feel about that. So he ends up sharing all of these text messages in court, which quite yummy. Let's review them. And again, shout out to Cassidy O'Connell for for pulling them from the lawsuit and publishing them on her YouTube channel. He says, call. She says, LOL, okay. I can't hear you. Call me back. Call me, beat me. If you want to reach me, if you want to page me, it's okay. And then he says, I don't need you on the Fed Soch call. Do not join the WG call. WG is where they worked. He said, as you thought might be happening, I am seeing Lindsay. So now Lindsay is being outed in all of this. Lindsay is mistress number two. He said, I am seeing Lindsay and I need to cut off communication for the time being. And I'm sorry I let you down. Make sure you get your stuff. I'll make sure you get your stuff. And her immediate response to him is, whoa, what the actual fuck? Well, I'm already on, so not dropping off. So she's like, I'm already on the call, so I'm not dropping off. She's like, I'm showing up to the call, and you're going to have to listen to me breathe on the other line. Obviously, that's my own addition. She said, as you know, I deserve more than a fucking text right now. Which I agree. She does deserve more than a fucking text right now. She deserves a proper breakup and maybe even, a pity fuck on the way out. Good for Elyse. Here she is. She deserves better. Hashtag justice for Elyse, right? So we're exploring, right? We're seeing where this breakup goes. Okay. Then we get to the next batch of text messages. And she says, I need you at a minimum to call me because right now I could not possibly think less of you. You say you're all about loyalty. Show it right now for once. I mean, I get you not wanting to see me, but you going back to Lindsay after how horribly she treated you, your family. Oh, now we care about his family, right? We didn't care about his family when you were fucking him when he was married. But now we care about the family. Now we care about his family. And you say that you care about Jesus Christ? Is she trying to throw his good Christian values under the bus right now? Is that what she thinks she's going to do? She's going to hit him with the Christian card? You don't bring Jesus into this if you don't mean business, right? She is standing on business. She's like, Jesus Christ has entered the chat. Hold on. There were more. And then he responds. He says, I do need to do better. As you might guess, I'm in a weird, dark place. Aren't they all? Every sleazeball, every time he doesn't want to commit or he wants to do some shit and talk some, and sleep around with all the mistresses, 1, 2, 3, or 4, like he's Hugh Hefner, and they're just all hopping on. They're homie hopping on the same dick. He said, yes, I owe you a call and a talk. Bullshit. You don't give a shit about her. He said, and you'll get it. It won't be right now. I'm at the office and running meetings. Oh, they're always so busy to call. They're too busy to call you, right? We see you, Joshua Wright. He said, but I do owe you that. He said, I do owe you that and will do it. And I understand why you can't think less of me right now. I think the same. And we will talk. Typical sleazeball, right? Like just very standard, trying to gaslight her and be like, I'm bad. Ooh, I'm so bad. I'm going to pray to Jesus tonight. I'm going to make sure that Lindsay gets on her knees and prays with me. And Lindsay's going to be right there, mistress number 2. She's like, let me get on my knees and help you pray. And he's like, yes, get on your knees and pray. And she's like, let me pray. Well, they do whatever. And then she writes back to him and she's like, please don't worry about my things, but I do still need you to give me work and pay me and write these articles with me we discussed, please. And please not to ask me not to join professional calls like RTP because it's not fair to punish me professionally for my personal failures. Okay, now I think she's setting up the stage, right? She's setting the foundation for retaliation. And she's now trying to be like, don't punish me professionally for my personal failures. Ooh, like this is where we start to see the other side of her. I mean, a side of the needy, like, call me, which I get. If somebody's going to break up with you via text and not give you details and be like, I need to cut off communication cold turkey, like, first of all, he's a jerk, he's a douche, and I get it where she would be like, call me, like, you owe me a fucking phone call, you asshole, right? She says, it's not fair to punish me professionally for my personal failures unless I deserve it. And she's like, ooh, I've been a bad girl. Don't cut me out of the meetings, but spank me later. Sorry, that's my own. Those are my own interjections. She said, the punishment I'm dealing with personally is more than enough. Ooh, now she's sounding a little feisty. He's like, and I said, fine. I didn't ask you not to join RTP. Thought you told me you were leaving. Gee, you're I thought you told me that you were going to leave it to me. She said, okay, please just let me know when you can talk. I don't have anything, so anytime works for me. And I do need that. Oh my God, girlfriend, let him go. He is not a prize. He's not a prize. Remember, you basically left your husband for him because this is 2021. You were divorced at this point. Like this is the prize you chose. But remember, he was the other dude. I guess she had to make it worth it because she left her husband, right? So she continues. She said, just so I can get a sense of closure. Okay, first of all, stop texting him and go see a therapist. Go listen to Nick Vial's podcast. He helps people out of relationships all the time. She says, I'll stop communicating with you personally as you requested. I'm sorry that I didn't figure out sooner that you wanted me out of your life. He literally told you he wanted you out of his life. He's like, don't call me, don't text me, don't call me, beat me if you want to reach me. If you want to page me, don't, you know? And then he comes back with his flood of messages. And he's like, I'm not ignoring. Sorry for not responding. I'm banging Lindsay. No, he said, I'm reading and picking up the kids. No need to apologize. And I appreciate you including in the middle of me imploding here and causing harm that you are worried about me. I sincerely do. And I do care. And fuck, I'm worried about me too. My own spiral, but not trying to make it about me. I don't know, sir. Does kind of make it seem like you're trying to make it about you, but okay. He said, I meant when I said we could talk. And I'm not saying that to punt or evade. We can talk and will. I'm sorry. I need to be with kids now. I need to go to school now. Um so then he has that one. And then this is where she really goes off the deep end because I guess she didn't like that response. She said, I don't know how to survive this fucking year. Okay, first of all, the fact that the two of them are banging and they're clearly each going through some sort of crisis in their life, some midlife crisis. Clearly, this is more justification that they shouldn't be together. But so she continues. She said, I don't know how to survive this fucking year. Don't think I want to. You promised me multiple times that you would be here. And you're doing the opposite. You're abandoning me in the worst possible way. That's straight fucked up. And I'm so embarrassed for thinking that you ever respected me, let alone love me. Okay, first of all, sister, he was banging you behind his wife's back while you were banging him behind your husband's back. There's no respect. The barrier of respect has been ripped off like an old pad, right? Just no, it's not there. There's no respect. There's no anything. Like this is a bad situation that went on, and you should have left him when you guys were banging back in college. And that's where you claim that he had the power dynamic, but then you kept coming back to him because I guess the dick was so good you just couldn't quit it. You couldn't hit it and quit it, which I don't know. Can we pull him up again? I I don't know if I think that this dick was too good to quit. You know, it just looks maybe a little short, possibly uncircumcised. Nothing wrong with that. No shame to guys that are uncircumcised, but it just looks a little like he comes too fast. You know, Like, he just doesn't look much of a surprise. But, she believed that he loved her. This is the face of a man that loves you and breaks up with you via text message. Okay, sister. Let's continue. She said, and I'm so embarrassed for thinking you ever respected me. He did not respect you, my love. If it starts in an affair, there is no respect for you or his wife. She's like, I didn't think I could hurt this much. You're being so mean to me, and I don't know why. I don't know what I've done so wrong in my life to end up in this total dumpster fire right now. Oh, I don't know. Maybe fuck a married man. Maybe cheat on your husband. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Just a few suggestions that I'm throwing out there. Maybe believing that the man that you had an affair with that also happened to be your boss, maybe sleeping with him, and advancing your career in that way. I don't know. Just again, just a couple of suggestions here, right? But she doesn't know how she got to this dumpster fire in her life. She said, or why I'm so expendable to you. Hello, he has multiple mistresses, my love. You probably weren't even mistress number one. Like, you were probably just one of many. So she's sad that she doesn't understand why she's so expendable to him. She said that you seem to be going out of your way to hurt me. I can't. I can't. Respect. Find out what you mean to me. Respect. Ect. Um, Lisa R in the live chat says these texts have me laughing because they're wild. Expendable. Of course you were right. Like, you were literally one of the yeah, I agree. She does have low self-esteem. I agree with the live chat. Okay. So those are the text messages that he goes and drops that in court, right? Because at some point he just stops responding. So after he stops responding, she then decides, I'm going to show up at his office and cause a scene, right? Because that's what you do when you believe that the man that you were having an affair with loves you. You make sure that he proves his love. So you go to his office and you make a scene out of it, right? She says then when she couldn't get through to him, she's like, I can't get through to him. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start hitting up mistress number two's phone. And so she starts blowing up Lindsay's phone. And Lindsay is like Grand Central Station, right? Lindsay's out there trying to avoid her calls, and she's blowing up Lindsay because apparently she has beef with Lindsay. All right. How true that is, I don't really know, but that's what Joshua Wright, Mr. Wright, reveals in his lawsuit against her, the defamation suit. He's like, they have beef, they have history. And he's probably jerking off to all of this, right? He's probably getting off on the fact that he has the mistresses and the mistresses are battling it out, and he's picturing them mud bath battling, right? So ultimately, she's not getting him to talk to her. Obviously, showing up at his office isn't working. Blowing up his mistress's phone isn't working. So she then decides, you know what? Now I'm going to have a come to Jesus moment. Now I'm going to, just do the right thing. So in her mind, doing the right thing is then going and filing her complaint with the university that they met at, where she claims that he had a hostile environment, accuses him of SH, and then accuses him of not disclosing his inappropriate relationship to the school. His claims are that these are all lies. Like, yes, of course, he didn't report this to the school as he should have, but he says there was no SH. He says that this was all consensual. And like, listen, it does kind of sound like it was consensual, right? I understand maybe in college when, she was a student and he was a professor and they had a power dynamic and she was his research assistant and then she went on and he was her manager. I understand those instances, but like you continue to go back to him. Like, you kept seeing him for a period of 11 years. So, yeah, I kind of feel like I don't know if, I mean, you can argue Stockholm syndrome, but she got out, right? Like, she was able to leave him, and there were periods where they were not together. And he also goes on in his claim to say that, there were multiple times where he supported her career, just being a good friend, and just because he wanted to see her advance her career, yada, 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 right? Jesse Girl Ray says 11 years of an affair is not SH. It's a choice. Exactly. Right? That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, it kind of shoots her credibility. But like, she really is kind of the perfect victim, right? Or the perfect ally for Blake Lively. Because like, mistress, homewrecker, false SH claims. I don't know. Like, I feel like these are two peas in a pod. Or make it three peas in a pod and throw Amber Heard in there too. I think Elyse wants to be the next Amber Heard, is kind of what I'm feeling, Anyway, Can't get through to him, goes to the school, files this complaint against him, and then I think starts talking to the press about it, which is what then prompted his defamation case. And so this was ongoing. And ultimately, it came to a resolution in March of this year. So in March, they end up settling. And it was literally days before going to the trial that she broke down and settled and had to pay him out. Also, to be fair, it's her and another woman that he had an affair with. So I guess mistress and maybe mistress number 8. I don't know. The other woman doesn't seem to have a big part in the Blake Lively stuff. I don't think she's filed her amicus brief on behalf of Blake Lively. She's not coming out to support her. But like, come on. Come on. So ultimately, they end up settling. She pays him out. She ends up having to pay him out via through an insurance fund, but I believe the settlement came out to about 300,000. So he was suing for 108 million. I did the math, and her attorney says that they're like, we only had to pay him 0.03% or 0.3% something, and I did the math, and it averages out to about 300,000. So around there is what she ultimately had to pay him out. She buckled, she folded, or her and this other woman, I guess, had to pay him the money, and he was happy with that. But he claims that he's been fully vindicated. This was settled back in March of this year. Now she does have 6 months after withdrawing her law or from settling this lawsuit. She has 6 months to refile her claim. Uncertain if she will. We're now 3 months in. I don't I don't know. But she paid him out. She's out there. She says that she decided to settle because she couldn't further take the ongoing trauma of pursuing litigation. Like, we buy that bullshit, right? So there's just too much trauma. She's like, "Ah, I can't take it. The agony, the agony. So let me now." Like, that was too much, right? When local press was talking about it. So let me insert myself into the Blake Lively campaign. That's where it's crazy. Like, truly crazy. His attorney made a bad move in the settlement because he allowed her to talk about the case. Yeah, that's the part that for me is kind of like, well, I don't think he expected her to really go anywhere. He got the settlement. So I think to him, he was like, I got my settlement. I don't care if she talks about it. Let her say whatever she wants to say. I got my low money, which to me, 300,000 is nothing. Like, that's not worth it, right? But I just think he thought that they were all small potatoes. I don't think he expected any of this to blow up the way that it has now that she's inserted herself into Blake Lively's case against Justin Baldoni. So the lawyer is traumatized by litigation. That's a good point, Katie. Yes, she is. They are attorneys. So yeah, she's traumatized by litigation. Interesting, right? He never expected her to insert herself into the Blake Lively case. Nope. I don't think he expected that when he inserted himself into her all these years later, he would then be inserted into Blake Lively's drama. Jesse Girlray says there's no way she's a victim. 11-year affair partner had to pay him 300,000, then continues to stalk him. Well, she stalked him and then had to pay him the money. Just switching that order. Oh, Brigitte says so 0.3 0.3% of 400 million is 1.2 million. At a minimum, that is what Justin Baldoni should get. I think he should get a hell of a lot more than 1 million. Because remember, there are what, 5 defendants in that case? Or 5, yeah, 5 plaintiffs in that case. It's Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, Jennifer Abel, and Melissa Nathan. And then there's also Wayfair, and then all their companies. And it ends with us LLC, and yeah. So that's at least 5 ways that you're splitting $1 million. What is 1 million divided by 5? I don't know math. I trust you, Brigitte. So, yeah. It's Nelly says, or is it Nell or Nelly? There are a lot of laws that prohibit confidentiality for SH claims, so she's free to talk. Yeah, and he knows that. But again, I just don't think that he expected any of this to go to the place that to blow up the way that it has. But I don't think she expected all of us mommy and daddy sleuths, designated daddy sleuth here, to dig into all of this, 300K. Oh, real estate. Ooh, Cassidy's in the house. Cassidy says she wants to keep trashing him on a bigger platform. It's not working. because now everybody's talking and they're outing all her dirty drama, all her dirty panties that she was giving to him, putting in his drawer at the office. They're now all coming to light. Sorry, the dirty panties thing I got from I was watching Hacks last night, season 4. It's actually really good. And in one of it, the dirty panties come up in the workplace at some point. So, and there's like an SH claim, and then HR gets involved. And so, yeah, that's where the dirty panties joke came from. 240,000 each, but Justin has to get more. Yeah, well, listen, that's why they need to be paying a lot more than $1 million. To Ryan Reynolds, $1 million is like, ugh, it's a little slap on the wrist. It's annoying, but like he can afford a hell of a lot more than that. Gigi says maybe the employees Blake Silence should file an amicus brief. Oh, that's a good idea. But also, as Friedman claimed in his response, right? Because remember, he went and issued his response. He was claiming that these amicus briefs are ridiculous and unnecessary at this point. That they want to, that there's no reason for them because Blake Lively's counsel is competent and there's no other reasons or cases why these amicus briefs are even necessary other than to play another PR game. Mel says Justin Baldoni is going through hell because of a vain, stupid narcissist. I mean, yeah. Her comments back to some of the people on her amicus on LinkedIn were crazy, beyond unprofessional. Yeah, listen, she decided to play this out on a big public stage, and all it's doing is coming back to bite her in the booty hole. And listen, and at the end of the day, Lindsay has your man. Lindsay has your man. Cassidy said she'd still be cheating with him if he didn't drop her. Yeah, he dropped her like a hot potato. He dropped her like she dropped her panties the first time she saw him behind that desk, right? When he pulled out that chalk and he was writing his name on the board, she was like, ooh. And he was like, ooh, and you. He's a sleazeball. He's a philanderer. He's a home wrecker. He's all the things. He's a total sleazeball. And listen, his reputation's been shot at this point too. Brittany says, I'm watching the last season of You on Netflix, and it's all about PR manipulation, and it's eerie, but so good. Yeah. It's funny. Like, we would see all of these things in these TV shows, and now here we go. Here we go. This hurts real victims. It absolutely hurts real victims. But when people are so arrogant and they're blinded by their own ego and their own narcissism, and I don't use that word loosely, you kind of end up where they're at. Elizabeth says, you sleuths just cracked this case right open. Another blow against Camp, Blake Lively, and Reynolds. Yep. Khaleesi Direwolf says, I trust Friedman to do the right thing in the court. PR has been good, and everything we do, people want to use against Baldoni. Yeah. I'm obsessed with Justin Baldoni blind items videos. She has a pattern. Did you hear Wayfair added an attorney who used to work for Venable? I did see that this morning. I mean, to be fair, that doesn't mean a whole lot. I always say, there's times to make something a thing and there are times to just let it be. I don't think it means a whole lot, TBH. Like any attorney can jump around from law firm to law firm and then happen to work on a new case. I mean, I'm hoping that there's maybe a little more to it, but we'll see. Zach, I'm loving your Judge Judy reels. Thanks for the laughs. Yes, my reels and TikToks, and I even started to post a couple of them on YouTube of me doing voiceovers with Judge Judy talking about Blake Lively. And I was like, if I were a judge in the Blake Lively lawsuit, and then I acted out. They're fun. I was having fun with them this week. Do you think Blake will sue Taylor if a new song seems to be about her? I don't think so. It kind of seems like Taylor's ready to take a break. She just bought back her music catalog. She bought back her music catalog, and she announced that there is no Reputation Taylor's version coming. So that she's re-recorded a couple of songs like we saw in The Handmaid's Tale, where she retaped Look What You Made Me Do. But for the most part, she says she's not doesn't plan on releasing it. That's the news that came out about Taylor Swift today. Okay. Moving on from Taylor Swift, but let's just give one last little bit of love to Elyse for the entertainment, and of course her lover, her secret lover, Joshua Wright. What a time. What a time, what a time, what a time to be alive. But weren't those text messages just so yummy? moving on from them, let's talk about Miss Julie Chrisley, Julie and Todd. So we don't quite know what Todd looks like just yet, but we do have a new photo of Julie Chrisley. She has now been photographed, and we're seeing her roots fresh out of prison. We got us a Julie Chrisley. So this is from Fox News. Fox News caught this photo and were the first to publish it. It is Julie Chrisley freshly out of prison. In her hair, she got lots of roots. They've only been there for what, 2 years? And so the roots, lots of grays, like the gray hair is all the way down to like her eyebrows, past her temples. And then the bottom of it, she's got like the ombre look going on because the bottom of it's all brunette, which was interesting because I guess maybe she dyed her hair brunette before going into prison. Maybe because the blonde, the bleach would not look good. I don't know. It's an interesting choice, though. Who is this woman? This is Julie Chrisley and Todd Chrisley. They are best known for the reality show Chrisley Knows Best. It was based on their family. And so Todd and Julie, they ended up going to prison for bank fraud and for tax evasion, primarily the bank fraud. So they have their reality show that was really popular, very successful for many years. And here, let me pull up the um, what they used to look like so you can get a comparison between Julie then and Julie, because Todd, everyone thinks that Todd's gay, and they are not convinced. And he's like, "No, I'm so straight. I love my sex kitten, my lovely little Julie. He loves his Julie." And so their family was on Chrisley Knows Best. They had a couple of other spinoffs. They ended up they were sentenced, I believe he was sentenced for 12 years and she was sentenced for 7 years behind bars. And it was for, yeah, tax evasion. I think wire fraud was one of the charges. And they, I guess, were defrauding banks. They were providing fraudulent documents to the banks so that they can take out these big loans. I believe they accumulated about 30 million in bank loan debt. And then they were trying to file for bankruptcy. And it was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't take out this money and then file for bankruptcy because you couldn't afford it because you were lying to take the money out. Right. So that was Julie then. And this is Julie now. No makeup. We haven't seen what Todd looks like. I would imagine he got the fastest Uber to the salon to get his hair done. Because I would imagine he's not looking too too good himself. Although in the video, his daughter Savannah, because Savannah is the one that's been lobbying to get her parents out of prison. She has a podcast and she's been trying to use that podcast to bring awareness to their case. Because obviously people had kind of followed their case initially and watched it play out with their taxes locally. And so Savannah was lobbying. She eventually went on, I believe she spoke at the RNC and tried to become friendly with President Trump. Ultimately, she appears to be successful in that endeavor because she was able to get them out of prison. And so she got Trump to pardon her parents. I imagine they're filming their reality show or cameras are back up. There's no way the network is going to let this story just die down without capturing this for the cameras. But so this is Savannah. She's obviously wearing her Make America Great hat because she's been a supporter of President Trump, especially because he helped her parents get out of prison. They believed that they were in prison unfairly. They were trying to appeal. They weren't winning their appeals. They had a former business partner that went in court and basically said that, yes, they did everything. And I think his testimony is ultimately what really hurt them the most. He also claimed, though, that he was having an affair with Todd. And Todd's like, "What? How dare you? I'm not gay." And so Todd's not gay. So yeah, the kids were already shooting a new show. Oh, okay. I figured, I didn't know if that had been confirmed. I'd assumed that it would have been. So yeah. EC says, "No Chrisley show, please. Don't want to see it. I just heard with this pardon, they don't have to pay the rest of the victims back. It's disgusting." Well, the rest of the victims? You mean the IRS? Those are the victims? You're mad that they don't have to pay? Or the banks? Listen, I've always said, like Jen Shaw, who's from the Real Housewives of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, She is in prison because she put together a telemarketing scheme that um, took advantage of elderly people. So for me, that is terrible. She was taking advantage of people that were vulnerable, and so she's in prison for 6 years. I believe the time has continued to get knocked down. Whereas Julie was sentenced to prison for over 7 years. Todd was sentenced to 12 years. So like I think that those were really big. Those were really big sentences for. I mean, again, 30 million is they claimed that there was evidence that they weren't able to use at their trial that proved that they were innocent. I think they were trying to say that it was the business partner that was doing all of this stuff, not them, and the business partner obviously saved himself by throwing them under the bus, is my understanding of it. I didn't cover the case closely because I didn't really watch the Chrisleys. I knew of them, but I never watched Chrisley Knows Best, and I didn't come on to the case until, the sentencing happened, and that's when I started to cover it more, and that's when I started to look into it. I believe it was the former business partner's testimony that ultimately was kind of the final nail in the coffin for them and what got them sentenced. And I believe that they were used to be made an example of, and that's why they got such a harsh sentence. So I don't know all the details. However, it seems like there's a lot more. Yeah, see, Christina, a lot of people say that they felt like they got over sentenced. They shouldn't have kept that money. I will go to jail. Yeah, I agree. They should have at least been able they should have had to pay back the restitution. But again, they're claiming that they didn't try to lie to banks and defraud them, that they really did have the money and they had the means to be able to pay them. And then eventually their finances just got out of control. And that's why they were going to file for bankruptcy. Sounds shady. Sounds shady. Mel says it's always the accountant. Well, I mean, it usually is the accountant because the accountant actually knows better, right? And the accountant's like, well, you could do this. Well, you could do that. But so yeah, Jen Shaw, I think, does not deserve to be pardoned, and she's not being pardoned. And I think she took advantage of people. Jen Shaw, Elizabeth Holmes, like those types of people that have like real victims whose lives that they've harmed, I think is a little different in comparison to, some bank fraud. Not that bank fraud is good. I'm not supporting that. I'm just saying I did think that that was a very harsh sentence. Julie was like, "I am sick. There's no AC in prison. I can't do this." And so, whatever. Sharon says, "I didn't just fall out of a coconut tree. Guilty, guilty, guilty. They just cough a break." I have always seen them as possibly guilty, but yeah, Luciana says the bank took the house and recovered the funds. Also, the IRS determined the taxes were paid after investigation. Okay, that was my understanding too, because they did investigate that there wasn't an issue with the taxes. I think it was improper filing, and that's what made it all so confusing. But I do think they got the tax issue resolved. I was not aware that they liquidated the house and recovered additional funds for the banks, but I would imagine there was an outstanding amount of restitution that was left that they were going to have to pay, and they were probably in the process of paying. Lisa says Jen Shaw made her own pardon. She probably cut her time more than half with her good behavior. No, I mean, she's gotten time knocked off. I believe she got it knocked down to from 6.5 years to maybe like 5 years. She gets out next year. So she's ultimately going to only end up serving about 4 years. My understanding, she's been there for 2 years now. I think she went in 2023. So yeah, it's been a little over 2 years at this point. And she has her little blog where she blogs from prison. People can read. I don't know. True, they probably were shady, but the sentence didn't fit the crime. They paid back restitution. The feds liquidated all their assets, and they are living with Savannah. Okay, well then their restitution has been paid. If you owe the IRS, you can compromise the payment, but you get out of it altogether, even if you're released from prison. Um, my understanding of like the IRS cases or when people have the tax evasion, they usually go to prison for something else. The tax evasion piece is just something that's also tackled on. I remember when this was all going on and Jen Shaw was going to prison, she always said like the IRS just wants their money. They don't care to lock you up if they don't have to lock you up. They just want you to pay them out. So a lot of it has to do with but I mean it seems like most of their restitution was paid with their assets being liquidated. Lizzie says exactly, Zach, very little in the end after the repo. Yeah. So we'll see. But those are the Chrisleys. They're out. Savannah's like, yay, we did it. And so they did it. Let's talk Mormon wives. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So if you finish at this point, you should have seen the latest season where we have Marciano and Demi. Well, actually, there's Marciano and there's Jesse, and Marciano and Demi. So one big hot mess. He apparently slept with or had some sort of what he's claiming affair situation with one or possibly both of the Mormon wives. Okay. So there is, here, I'll pull up photos that you can see them. If you didn't watch, I'll break it down for you. So Lisa Vanderpump has a spinoff called Vanderpump Villa, and that's where it's basically like not a bed and breakfast, like an Airbnb, I guess, kind of similar to like a hotel meets Airbnb situation. And so on Vanderpump Villa, she had on, or this guy that was working for her, his name is Marciano, and he's the guy here in the middle with the pink shirt. He worked for her in season 1. It's a Hulu reality show that came as a spinoff from Vanderpump Rules, which was Lisa's show on Bravo. Then she had Vanderpump Villa, where she took it to, I believe the first season was in Paris, and then the second season is in Italy. And so brings her staff in, and every episode, similar to like Below Deck or those types of shows, there's a new guest that comes and stays at the villa. And so in this case, they had an Italian castle. And so every week there were new guests that would come in to celebrate something in the Italian castle. In this case, it happened to be the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives cast, or at least some of them, including Demi and Jesse. A lot of people think that Demi and Jesse, who are besties, look a lot alike. Well, while they were there, it appears that there was some sort of flirtation or close vibe between Marciano and Demi. Now, if you'll remember, I had on Hannah and Hagen from Vanderpump Villa because they were on the cast and they worked for Lisa Vanderpump and they worked in the villa. They were on my podcast and they were talking about how Demi, who's married, she's one of the Mormon wives on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. She was talking to Marciano and they were out there for hours, and that there was something that was shady that possibly went down. Jen Affleck, I know, was just on, she's one of the other Mormon wives. She was just on Nick Viall's podcast. She claims that, yes, Demi did have a thing with Marciano. They didn't show it in the footage, but there was a moment where Demi was sitting on Marciano's lap, and there was a moment where she kissed Marciano. Then there was a rumor that later came out after the show's finished production, when everybody was in LA. They all went out to the bar Tom Tom. And it was at Tom Tom that I guess Jesse and Marciano were getting very flirty. Jesse is also married. So Jesse is the girl on the right of Marciano. Demi is the girl on the left. So Demi, the girl on the left, is the one that he supposedly was having a thing with at the villa. Jesse, he's now claiming they had a thing after the villa when they were in LA. And so according to Sheena Shea from Vanderpump Rules, she was out that night with them. And it's all very, I need like to draw a map to connect everybody. But so Sheena Shea said that she was also at Tom Tom, and that apparently Marciano ended up going and spending the night at Jesse's hotel room. Now, Jesse and Demi are both married. They both have husbands, right? This is just like the Homewreckers episode. Todd and his gay lover that put him in prison. And then we have Elyse Dorsey, who, was sleeping with her teacher. And then she wasn't happy with her hierarchy and the mistress ladder. Maybe we need Rachel Leviss to come on in and represent all the mistresses, right? So, Mormon wives, this is where we're at. Demi says nothing happened with Marciano. Jen Affleck says that that's not true. And I always thought, well, when we watched the most recent season of Mormon Wives, Demi goes into the season trying to paint Jen out to be a liar by saying that she lies about her relationship, right? I think that she did that intentionally because Jen had dirt on Demi. Now, why Hulu chose to not air any of this footage, I don't know. I would assume if it went unaired, Hulu may end up airing it for season 3 or whatever the next season is, because it appears that there was some sort of cliffhanger, and I'm assuming we're going to get more of, because that's what ended season 2, is the fact that there was this bombshell affair. But he reveals that it was actually with Jesse, not Demi. But now he's claiming, because Demi and her husband Brett, they're going around saying that this isn't true. Demi never had an affair. Nothing ever happened. He's blowing this out of proportion. Jen's a liar. Jen didn't see anything. Jen's like, I have receipts. Just wait, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then Demi kept threatening her with the cease and desist, but I guess she never actually sent the cease and desist. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Lizzie says Marciano looks like he belongs on the old Jersey Shore. Yes, I agree. Um, but so yeah, wow, 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 wow. Now, Marciano is coming out and saying he's calling out Demi and her husband Brett by saying, "Why are you guys lying? You know something happened." And obviously, because they're trying to do damage control, because Jen finally came cats out of the bag. She talked on Nick Viall's podcast about what she saw in the villa. And that was Demi sitting on Marciano's lap and kissing him. What that means, was it playful? Was it, whatever? Demi hinted that the situation is not something she wants to talk about because she says now it's legal, and I'm assuming she is sending cease and desist letters, and maybe she's even claiming that Marciano maybe was coming on to her and she didn't want it, and she's going to be, the next Elyse Dorsey and the next Blake Lively and the next Amber Heard. She's going to come out with allegations. He's a sleazeball. Yeah, he's a bit of a douche. Now, I know Jesse is denying sleeping with Marciano. Demi is also denying having anything to do with Marciano. We're gonna have to wait to see it all play out. But it is drama, rama, rama. Drama, drama, drama. We'll see. You may even see one of the wives on stage with me. One or more. I don't know. I guess you're just gonna have to get your tickets to my live shows. I'm coming to Dallas, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Toronto, Brooklyn, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles. And if you get your tickets this week by Sunday, you will be entered to win a coffee date with me. So get your tickets right now. Like I said, Hannah and Hagen from Vanderpump Villa are going to be on stage with me in Dallas on July 11th. So yeah, get your tickets now. Get it, get it, get it. Ooh, OMG. Let's go. Let's get it. Go to nofilterlive.com. I'm going to be in Dallas July 11th, Phoenix July 13th, Philadelphia July 23rd, Toronto July 24th, Brooklyn July 26th, Chicago July 27th, Seattle August 8th, and Los Angeles August 10th. Lots of special guests come in. So if you're living for all the Vanderpump Mormon wives tea, you're definitely going to want to come on out. You'll want to come out to Dallas to see Hannah and Hagen on stage with me. They spilled a lot of tea, and I believe now they're free from their press holds. So I'm pretty sure now they're ready to spill all the tea and mention it all. So get your tickets now at nofilterlive.com. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Is there anything else? I did have an announcement, but maybe I'll wait until Monday to make it. I did get some confirmation on some things. I'm excited. But we'll see. All right, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Yes, we will be doing Original Sin. If you want to become a member of Book Club, you can sign up for Book Club with our memberships. You can become a member on YouTube of Book Club. Beth says, Zack, Book Club Sunday. Get it, get it, get it. My Original Sin book arrived. How far should we read before Sunday? Let's see how many chapters it is. Let's see. Original Sin. Original Sin. That's the book, the Jake Tapper book. Yes. Original Sin. President Biden's cover up. President Biden's decline, its cover up, and his disastrous choice to run again. Dun, dun, dun. For two of America's most respected journalists, an unflinching and explosive reckoning with one of the most fateful decisions in American political history, Joe Biden's run for re-election, despite evidence of his serious decline, amid desperate efforts to hide the extent of that deterioration. So I believe the book was originally being worked on by Alex Thompson. He was the one that was investigating this, and Jake Tapper just ended up jumping onto it. And, ultimately it did help the book gain more exposure having Jake Tapper attached to it, but I'm pretty sure it was Alex that did most of the heavy lifting. But we'll see. Okay, how many chapters is it? Dun, dun, dun. Does it tell us on here? Usually. I remember when Amazon used to be like, look inside this book. I don't have the copy on me. Here, let me pull it up on my phone. Give me 1 second. I'll let you know what chapters we should read today. Oh, nope. Let's see. The book in total is 19 chapters. Let's get through. Okay, there's the dedication, the epigraph, author's note, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, let's get through the first 5 chapters because chapter 5 seems to be very, very, or maybe the first 6 chapters. Yeah. So if there are 19, let's break it up over the course of, I guess we're all kind of in June. So we'll do 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, let's do, okay, we'll break it up into 5 chapters each. So this Sunday, June 1st, we'll do chapters 1 through 5, and then chapters 6 through 11, and then chapters 12 through 16, and then 17, 18, 19. I don't know. We'll do 5 chapters a week every Sunday, June 1st, 8th, 15th, and then we'll wrap on the 22nd. Or we may skip June 15th because that's my birthday. So maybe we'll do June 1st, June 8th, and then we'll wrap in on the 22nd. So we'll do 3 weeks. 19 divided by 3 is 6 chapters, 6-ish chapters. Okay. Read the first 6 chapters. And that's my answer to you, Beth. If you're doing book club and you're signing up for book club, get what day is book club again? Sorry, Sundays. So we'll do Sundays. Will be book club. We're going to be reading Original Sin, President Biden's Decline. At least for this first week, read the first 6 chapters. Get it, get it, get it. Mel, Daddy said knock you out. All right. That's all I got for you. Christina says, I'm going to get it on Audible so I could listen to it while I do work. There you go. What is Original Sin about? Biden's decline and the cover-up. Money grab. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of torn. Distinguished guest says, wow, Zach, from housewives to president's book club got deep. Well, we've always we did House of Hilton. That was dark and deep. We did Revenge by Tom Bauer about the royals. So the books we did the Beckhams. I feel like people weren't as interested when we did like the housewives books. The only one people really cared about was Erica's book. But the rest, I feel like people were kind of like, eh. So, eh. I'm still laughing about Macron being slapped by his wife / dad. Oh, the conspiracy theories. Are we having a members only this week? Yes, we will have a members only this week. Ooh, that's going to get tricky. We're going to have to do a members only and a book club. Maybe this month's members only. I don't know. We're going to have to figure that out. I will try to do both. And I will keep you posted. Members onlys, I feel like, are usually Fridays or Tuesdays. And book club will be consistent and have on Sundays. Todd did a press release this morning. It's on YouTube. Oh, Todd Chrisley. Oh, he did. Oh, do we know now then? Oh my God, should we watch this? Oh, he's in Dallas still. Oh, it was a very long press conference. Let's see. Where is he at? Oh, wow. Should we watch? Okay, let's actually, before we wrap, let's watch his press conference, shall we?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the attention to this matter. I know folks have wanted to talk to Todd and Savannah, so they're here to do that. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell a few words. We'll take questions after.
How are you guys? Good. We woke up today and they were still at home. So it's honestly felt like such a dream to have them at home. And I'm just so grateful, obviously, to President Trump, leaving those men and women behind. There's too much.
Long fight. And for any parent to see their child fight this hard, it's a double-edged sword. It's a blessing, and then your heart breaks because your child has been placed in that position to fight for you, when as a parent, you're supposed to fight for your children. So I will always be grateful to you from the bottom of my heart. We've had wonderful legal representation, maybe not the first go round, but certainly when you picked up. And we're certainly grateful to you, Alex, and to you. This is the better looking version of our team.
Todd looks fresh, right? He looked like he was getting some good dick in prison. That's his press conference. Here, I'm just going to read the recap because it's about 30 minutes long. I want to hear the raccoon story from him, right? So he answered questions. So this is from Us Weekly. They just did a recap. I want to thank first and foremost the Lord and Savior because he's the one who got me through it. Savannah has also fought long and hard. He explained that his wife, Julie, was not present at the press conference because she wanted to be home with the couple's 12-year-old adopted daughter, Chloe. And she probably wanted to get her hair done, you know? He said, although Todd and his wife were indicted on tax evasion, bank, and wire fraud and conspiracy charges in 2019 and were ultimately found guilty, the stars deny any wrongdoing. Even though this pardon has happened, I still was convicted of something that I did not do. It could be you. It could be any of you. After promising to fight for injustices in the prison system, they answered burning questions. Okay. Todd talks about his life in prison. He says that it was bad, but there were blessings that came out of his experience, like his boyfriend. No, I'm kidding. He said, I met some wonderful men. I'm sure you did. I've listened to some horrific stories about things that have gone on in our system, and I was still convicted of something that I did not do. It could be you. It could be any of you. I will continue to fight for all the guys that I dealt with. Well, yeah, everyone in prison's innocent. Okay, so he says he's innocent. He said, I think the biggest misconception right now is that I either paid for a pardon or I slept for a pardon. What? Savannah said this. She slept with Trump for a pardon? Todd then joked, that's something I would do. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did, Todd. I'm sure you did. But Savannah says that she spent countless hours going to DC, scheduling meetings, trying to get her family situation sorted out. She said people think, oh, you're a celebrity, you're white, you have money, and that you got the upper hand, and we didn't. She said, I had to fight, I was relentless, and that's how it happened. Finally, people listened. Todd's physical appearance. Todd was asked about the media's fascination with his physical appearance. After Savannah said he looked jacked, he said, I actually have more access to better products right now that I'm out. I had nothing to do other than to read and work out. I worked out every morning at 10:45 until 12. 10:45, that's late, homie. I work out at 6 a.m. every day. With my buddies there as I read, and my walk with Christ became deeper. I talked to my daughter every day and Chase to Grayson. I was able to email with Julie every day. Maybe it's all the residual Botox that didn't wear off. As to why he looks jacked. He said we've been TV cameras. He said while we've been filming, we had just wrapped for all intents and purposes, and that we get the call that they had been pardoned, so we picked right back up. That's what Savannah said about their show. We're excited because I think this new show is going to give people a look into the trial and things that we went through, and we're going to set the record straight. It comes full circle because we go back and then we get to a point where my mom and dad are pardoned, and now we move forward with our lives. Todd says that they've started filming literally the night that they got home. I would imagine camera crew is gonna be like, let's go. He said, I think with this new series, you'll see for the first time he and mom see each other for the first time. Oh, so we have that that moment on camera, like Teresa when she got out of prison. Teresa Giudice. All right. Well, that's all I got for you. I love you. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zack or No Filter with Zack, or yeah, Just Plain Zack, No Filter with Zack for the podcast news. I love you. I appreciate you. Stay tuned. I will talk to you guys on Monday. Or I guess if you're members, you can become a member and hit the link below to join. But if you're members, you can get your copy of Original Sin because we'll be doing book club this weekend. All right, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. Talk to you later. Ciao for now.